Hi, this is Mike. I'm the Erudite DM. It's good to be with you again. And I have a friend of mine with me tonight and a special guest to talk about Lamentations of the Flame Princess. And that is uh, the well known, famous Lord Mattias or Mateus or, yeah, just Matt or whatever you want to call him. Hey, Matt.
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to talk about this again. We had done a video maybe a month or so back, and wanted to revisit Lamentations again. But let me just set the table here. A lot of us are on YouTube. A lot of us are watching these. We're tuning into live streams like the Second Watch on Friday nights that Matt hosts, along with Gary Lewis and Brian. What's Brian's? I don't know Brian's last
DMCloaker, yeah.
TTRPG. He's here in Houston. I know that by me. I still haven't gotten together with him. I need to find out what his weakness is. I don't think he has any weaknesses, but
Craft beer.
oh well, there we go. He has a vice. Well, I can work with alcohols as good as any. I'll have to work on that. But anyway, I wanted to set up before we start jumping into Lamentations, and it's particularly the magic system I'm curious about. I just wanted to point out that we watch all these videos, and there are great games coming out seemingly every week. I just have to admit, I'm not one of those guys, though, that's always looking for a new system or comparing systems. And I'm certainly not one of those guys who loses sleep over what Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson may or may not have said in 1970 frickin' six. I don't care. These anyway, that's a whole different discussion, but
Yes.
it's interesting up to a point. But geez, people, I don't care. Here it is, 2025. I'm playing my game. You're playing your games. Find something new to talk about, possibly. Um, but all that being said, it's not that I'm not interested in new games. I will tell you, there's just a handful. I'll give you just three for the people that listen to my channel that I am interested in. One is Mythic Bastionland. Chris McDowell. I think that's a really wild system. It's got the knights and that whole thing, and I've got the game, and I have not played it. I will play it at some point. It's a very different kind of system, I guess, from Into the Odd and other stuff that he had done. And the second one would probably be a space game. I played Stars Without Number a few months ago, but I would gladly jump into Traveler. I know Alien's supposed to be great, but the knock on Alien, I think, is that it's going to end with this mindless monster every time killing everybody, and where it's kind of like a one-trick pony a little bit. And I hate to belittle it like that. I'm sure it's a great game because I know Chubby and others have said great things about that system. Um, but some kind of space game out there. I'm not sure which one, but I wouldn't mind playing periodically. I don't know if I want to GM anything, but and then the last one of these three is Lamentations, and it's just because it's twisted and sick enough to appeal to me. And James Raggi, the creator of the system, is an interesting cat, sometimes controversial for some folks. Whatever, we're not talking about him or him personally or anything. We're talking about his game creation. And before I really was even familiar with the system, Matt, I had, I guess, read some of the adventures and things, or came across the PDFs, and I was like, well, this is pretty wild. What is this? Did he do the 10,000 babies one, or is that somebody else I'm thinking of? Something
Might
like
have been
it.
might have been somebody else, but I know the controversies really started kicking up before I even knew what the OSR was in 2016 when he published, I should say published, but he put together a Gen Con catalog. This was around the time that genre game, Kids on Bikes, where you play kids solving
Yeah,
mysteries. Well, his cover of his Gen Con catalog was called Kids on Pikes. And it was just all these kids, just like, and it was pretty
yeah,
gory, and
yeah.
it really upset a lot of people.
I get it. And there's people that,
I actually hunted down, I'm a collector, I'm a huge fan, as you know. I actually hunted down a copy of it and paid a little bit of money for it. So I got it in my collection. But
yeah, there's people. I get it, and there's nothing wrong with that. If there's sensitivities or they have little kids, and I both have kids,
yeah.
and we all have different senses of humor. So that's not what we're talking about tonight. And one more thing before we jump into this magic system, I don't want you to tell Gary this, and I hope he doesn't watch this. But one of your recent Friday night shows, I was shocked to learn that he doesn't even really play D&D or or Shadow Dark. I mean, he's what was his top game? I think was D6 Star Wars or something.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's been playing OSC. That's his West Marches game that he was running on my Discord server. And that I don't want to psychoanalyze Gary, but like he is
I don't
more
have that
of
much time.
animated. Like when I first met him, he was like into Blades in the Dark, which is very much a story game.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like the fact that he ran like a procedural OSR game was like huge.
Yeah. I
You know, it
don't
was
wanna
like
give him the satisfaction, and I shouldn't be saying it here because he may watch this, but, while I was on vacation a week ago, I actually did start looking at Star Wars D6 to go, "Okay, that's what he's into. Why is he into this? Let me check this out," and I saw there was tons of stuff, but I've never played.
oh, West End game Star Wars is like my favorite Star Wars as well. Like so it gets a little broken as you go up in levels or whatever as you get advance. But it is a lot of fun to play. It's a lot of
Yeah,
fun to play.
and I think that, going back to Lamentations, any really good core system is also going to have a well-developed set of settings and supplements and third-party stuff that just fleshes it out. And if you're a home brewer, God bless you, that's great. But if you can pick and choose from all these available third-party,
Yeah.
it makes it even better. So all right. So I'm sorry, I talked a ton already. I have a feeling you're going to talk more and I'm going to listen in the rest of this video. But let's pick it back up where we had talked and kind of left off that this would be good for a second video about how magic is approached in Lamentations of the Flame Princess and what makes it unique, what is similar to other systems, that kind of thing. Can you describe the magic system in a nutshell?
Yeah, I can do that. I'll just preface this with I'm a huge fan, for your viewers. I'm a huge fan of the game. I'm a collector. It was one of the first OSR games I discovered when I got into the OSR back in 2018, 2019. Like you, I opened up and I was like, "Oh my god, this is crazy. This is weird. This is like so different than your standard D&D." On my YouTube channel, Lord Madius, I ran a 3-year Lamentations game using Temple of Elemental Evil in a sandbox setting, and I put a bunch of Lamentations game modules on the map, and so like it was great. Like we had a lot of fun. Huge high body count. Like I think I had like 22 character deaths over 3 years. It was great. But yeah, so I'm like really into the game, and on my channel I actually did like a series of like PowerPoint presentations. I break up the game and talk about the system itself, the modules, and the magic system. And the magic system, um on its face, it looks like your BX, your classic D&D, right? What you find in the core rules here.
Yeah,
Okay. It's Vancian. For those who don't know what Vancian means, it comes from Dying Earth, Jack Vance. The magic users there's this great little paragraph where I can't remember the magic user's name, but he's talking about imprinting the energy and the spell onto his very being. So the whole concept of like memorization and then releasing it is more than just memorizing a spiel that you would before you go into the boardroom or whatever. It's like this intense thing that you do. I grew to appreciate Vancian magic after reading Dying Earth. So it's on its face, it looks like everything else. The differences are subtle, but incredibly profound. If you play a magic user and elf, okay, you have to be chaotic. You cannot be neutral. You cannot be lawful. And this is tied into the concepts of what magic is in Lamentations. To better understand this, if you play a cleric, you have to be lawful. You cannot be neutral. You cannot be chaotic. You are playing a guy who believes that there is order to the universe, and your deity, which gives you powers, is central to that authority, right? And that order. Well,
sure.
what is the chaotic alignment? The chaotic alignment is very individualistic, right? So a magic user is actually harnessing the very fabric of reality to challenge the natural order. So clerics and magic users in Lamentations really don't get along. And that's why, like in the implied setting of Lamentations, you have a lot of witch burnings, okay? Because it's the 17th century Europe, okay?
Yeah.
So that right there is like the number one thing. Like you are doing something that is almost like Call of Cthulhu-esque, right? You're like you're a magic user, your elf is like channeling something like hidden, forbidden knowledge that might drive them a little crazy. And so they are they're not normal. They're dangerous. I actually think and I like this. I think magic users should be dangerous to the party because they are harnessing something that is, beyond normal, capabilities.
Yeah, I love
And
that idea of having a I'm sorry to jump in.
yeah, go ahead.
A magic user in whatever system that you're playing. I like the idea that they are dangerous, not only to themselves but to their fellow players, because they are channeling or mastering something that is forbidden and is misunderstood and is very mercurial.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
it could turn on them at any moment. I really like that idea, and there's a lot of games. Take your choice where you don't get that feeling at all.
Yeah, and I think this is where a lot of like modern D&D, especially starting in third edition, went wrong. Magic became more ingrained in with the game mechanics where your character almost needed to have magic to like properly advance. I know this was a problem with fourth edition. Like if you didn't have a magic item, like you were going at a particular level, you were going to be underclassed with whatever you're facing if you're using the challenge rating system. And by doing that, I think Wizards of the Coast, D&D, and other games that do this as well, you diminish the importance of magic. The way I look, again, going back to that metaphor, law, chaos, natural order, challenging it. If your basic rules, travel, encumbrance, combat, saving throws, if that is representative of the physics of your game world, right? Magic should be usurping that, right? Magic should be doing something that changes things, so to give the caster or his party or both a leg up because they're reshaping reality. And that's what I like about the old school OSR magic, even like classic D&D. Like there you get these like paragraphs, right? And I all due respect to Kelsey and Shadow Dark, I don't like the way magic is presented. I like the spellcasting system itself, but I miss the paragraphs of like description, because in the hands of a smart player, they start thinking things like, oh, well, the spell says this. Does that mean I can do this with it? And I like hearing that from my spellcasters, because that means they're trying to take my power away from me. And I, being the game master, I'm God. I am the natural order, as it were, representative of it, right? That means they're trying to test the wall, see what they can do, what they can peel back, you know.
Yes,
And
there's nothing worse than a sneaky ass wizard. That you got
yeah, oh yeah,
to run.
there
You
is.
got to keep an eye on that lady over there or that guy over there.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find
I think of
from
the DCC rule book, and I mean that's my favorite part of that book is reading through those long explanations. Not the most practical way to play it at the table,
yeah, that's true.
because it
That
does
is true.
bog down, but boy, giving you lots of rich flavor and color for sure. Let me turn
Uh,
on a fan. I'll be right back.
sure. Yeah, I was just gonna say there I can't find the image, but there's Yannick Bouchard. He's like one of the main artists for Lamentations, and it's one of the spellcasters, the woman who ended up becoming one of the spellcasters, the iconic characters in the game books. She's like dancing almost on like a
Mhm.
beach, and she's got like a bone wand, I think it is, in her hand, and she's just like moving it across the air. And as she does it, she's tearing a rip in the fabric of reality, and all this meat is coming out of it. It's like this beautiful idyllic setting, right? It's on the beach, and then just coming out of real. To me, that is what magic users are doing, and that's what Lamentations kind of implies. And when you look at the classic spells, re-envision, to meet the OGL, he's tweaked them so they're a little more powerful, and do things a little differently. Before we started recording, you brought up summon. You are not going to find summon animal, summon beast, summon monster, summon. No, there's just one spell. It's called summon, and it's first level, and it's 10 pages long. It is a spell that, the more powerful the magic user gets, the more powerful entity they can summon. But
Hmm.
there's this like it's sort of like an almost like an anti-system where like you basically say, I'm going to try to summon uh 5 hit die creature, and you're level 4, you're kind of pushing it, right? um or I'm sorry, if you're level 2, you'd be kind of pushing because you can summon up to, I think it's double your level, right? So if you're level 2, you're kind of pushing it, and you might actually risk a mishap. So you go through a series of rolls, and
Is that risk level scale?
yeah, but it's all based on your,
More dangerous, and there's more chance of a mishap or an accident or
in a sense, yeah. I mean,
fire.
it's attached to the a save versus spell. So as you gain in level, you're going to get a little better at it.
Mhm.
But again, the higher the hit die creature you summon, the harder it is you're going to be able to control it. So there's the summoning part, and then there's this aspect of whether or not you can maintain control of the being. And if you fail, it could actually take over you, and you're done. Your character's done. Um,
I love that.
yeah. The best part about, here's the thing though. So, I told you it's far worse than just, being a
Yeah.
danger. That would be the best. Like if I was running Lamentations, and if you were playing a magic user and you said, I'm going to summon something. And that did happen at one point, actually. Someone tried to summon something. I got nervous. And the reason why I got nervous is if you lose control of the summoning at the first like stage of like this whole spell, the die you roll to check what you summon increases, and you risk summoning something really powerful that could end the campaign.
More than
Like,
the character intended, higher than the character.
oh, way more. Like it's
Okay.
there's, let's see, I'll read some of the entries, because like the your average creature you summon from beyond,
Yeah.
you determine how many tentacles it has. Here's like a series of charts, right?
Oh,
um oh yeah, like what kind of abilities it might have. Like, look, see, it might have like a plus 2d6 to its AC, so no one's going to be able to hit it, that kind of thing. But the worst part is when you summon something that is beyond your control, and you might summon the collective unconscious desire for suicide, disruption of the universal order, fear of a blackened planet, imaginary equation, incorrect yet true, space between the ticks of a clock. That one I really like. World underwater. That one I'm worried about too, because so anyway, there's a bunch of them. I just
yeah.
listed
That
off
are
a few.
really heavy things that are the campaign's over basically. But boy, it went out on a high note.
Oh yeah, like the world without water. You open up to a plane of water,
Yeah.
and the entire planet gets covered in like 10 feet of water, 20 feet of water. Basically, it's over, right? Um, there's one where everyone loses their mind, except for the clerics because they're lawful, but everyone hates the cleric and wants to
It's a
kill him.
little like the second watch around 1 a.m. You guys are
Yes.
still going, and those that are left have all lost their mind at that point.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
You only awaken the next morning with some sort of memory, fond memory of, I think I had a good time. I don't know what.
But yeah, so the summon spell is an excellent example of how the magic user can actually challenge, and I say it like this: the magic user can actually challenge the power of the game master, because if that spell
And
goes
that's
awry,
cool. I mean, because that never happens in a D&D game. They're not
yeah,
my experience or Chef
yeah,
Dark or anything else, really. So
yeah. So every time I have a spellcaster in my campaigns, I get excited because I'm like, weird stuff is going to happen, but I'm also very nervous.
well, I meant to
Um,
ask you this earlier. You mentioned this natural rivalry between divine spellcasting and arcane spellcasting, right? Is it common in parties to have two of those opposing characters, or is it almost never happen? You go one way or the other. I mean, would you have a cleric and a magic user in the same party, and are they constantly bickering or fighting or
You could.
or
You could. I've seen actual plays where you have it, but it's that they role play it well. The magic users, basically lying through his teeth. Oh no, everything's good. Everything's good. Blah, blah, blah. I'm just a humble little, hedge wizard, just like divining stuff. One guy, I remember this one actual play I was really into watching. He played a magic, and there's rules in here that get really dark, like how to do like rituals and sacrificing people to like empower your spell. So if you really wanted, if you were a second level mage and you wanted to really summon something big and it's beyond you, you could do a ritual, kill a bunch of kids or something. And I actually saw that on an actual play, and the guy role played it so well because everyone was like, "What did you do?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm just setting up an orphanage." And they're like, "Oh, well, that's good of you." And then they found out what he was doing. Yeah, they weren't pleased. But yeah, so this is
The brisket's tough. I guess it would be. I guess it would be tender.
yeah. So but yeah, so that's like the start of it, right? This is just the core rules, and there's like Lamentations. I haven't talked to Raggi about this. This is just my conclusions,
Yeah.
but I sort of feel like if magic is chaotic and really individual, and that's how he describes magic missile too, like it can be whatever you want, then it logically follows that there could be a lot of different ways of handling magic in a Lamentations campaign. And that's kind of how I run it. If you want to play a Vancian magic user, you can use the core book. There's a spontaneous spontaneous caster rules in these free books here, Eldritch Cock and Vaginas Are Magic. And then just recently, he's published in the latest release a book about bards of all things, and everyone hates bards in the OSR as far as I can
Just
tell.
hate. What is it? Voracious mockery. That I hate.
Yeah. This is called The Music of Erica Zahn, and it's his take on bards. And they are chaos incarnate, like the way, but the mechanics are really cool too. So, like, you can do a lot of the things a magic user can do, but it's going to be different. It's going to function differently. So, if I were to run my next Lamentations game, I'm going to say, yo, you want to play a magic user? What do you want to run? Like, just pick a supplement and I'll let you use it. There's
Hey, I probably asked you this last time we did this, so apologies if I'm retreading here. But did you get a chance to meet to talk with him any at North Texas when we were there in June?
I did briefly. We chatted at his table. I actually sent him an invite. I'm like, hey, we'd love to have you on the second watch. He hasn't
Yeah,
gotten
you
back
should
to me.
pursue that.
I'm gonna follow up because Halloween's around the corner, and I want to do a lot of horror stuff, right? And then I played in his game, one of his games that he was running, which was a play test of something that was pretty twisted, but it was fun. We had a good time. And he's an interesting game master, that's for sure. But
Sounds. Hey, one more thing on magic, real quick, and I apologize. I'm going in different directions here, but do we have potions? Do we have scrolls along the way? All those same elements that we would find in other RPGs for a spellcaster, or is any of that different in Lamentations?
well, here's the thing: there are no magic tables. You're not going to have a treasure table. And this is something I really like about Lamentations. It's really up to the game master to place the treasure,
Sure.
because there's no monsters. There's just like these unique creatures. So you're not going to have like, well, your average orc has 3d6 silver pieces or anything like
Yeah,
that.
I
You're not going to,
jack
right?
that myself anyway, but
Yeah.
but if
So
a horde of some sort, would you find a scroll or
you could.
some other way to pick up a potion? And don't tell me there's a store selling potions. Yeah,
No.
I don't like supply shops
What
myself in game.
yeah, in the magic section of the book here, this is another thing I actually really like, because original BX and Beckmead, like, they talked about your wizards being able to write scrolls and all this stuff, but it really didn't go into like
Yeah.
how it's done. Well, he gives you how it's done. It's pretty stringent, but he does give you the rules to make a staff, a wand, scrolls, and potions. But there's no spell list, so it's really like if you're running, if you're in a game with me And whether I'm running something homebrew or an existing module, and you find a magic item, it's going to be unique, which I like. I think, again, magic shouldn't be this ubiquitous thing. It should be something that's jarring, strange, weird, and like, well, unique, right? So if you were playing a wizard and you came to me and you're like, I just want to make a wand of magic missile, yeah, you can do that because you have the spell and all that. But if you also came to me and said, I want to make a wand that turns cheese into meat or whatever, or like it screams when you eat it, like something weird, like, okay, yeah, we can do that because we have the rules for it. So and they're simple, but just stringent because it can take a lot of time in game to do it. So
Yeah, but that'd be fun to explore, man. That would be great. I think I'm going to put a link, an affiliate link to the basic core Lamentation set in the show notes. So if anyone else out there like me wants to, let me bite the bullet and get the book. The basic game is it still a first edition, second edition, advanced? I mean, which one would we be looking at purchasing? And book everything you need to get started, really.
Yeah, well, there's just the core rules, and it's built off of BX. So 7 classes: fighter, magic user, he calls it specialists, not thief, specialists, and then elf, dwarf, halfling. And then that's those are your classes, and then you got the rest of the book, and it's all here. Like, I think I got my first copy through Amazon for like $17, and this is a hardcover.
Nice.
Yeah, like,
and the implied setting is 17th century Western Europe, but you could if you
there's
Dark Ages.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's got some really great rules for gunpowder in there, but like there are a lot of I'm wondering if anything is in reach. I don't think so. There are a lot of game supplements out there that authors have written that are just different settings. Like, you got right there is Carcosa on my shelf. That's hardcore, 18 plus. But and then a little back, or wait, it's right there. Red and Pleasant Land, Zach S. Zach S. just published with Lamentations, the Nebulith, which is like this Okinawa setting. Which I haven't read yet. It's on my shelf. It's on my to-do list.
Like Okinawa during the Second World War, or Okinawa in some other sense?
Oh, it'd be like medieval Japan.
Okay.
But like a fantasy, Okinawa-esque.
Okay.
The premise is a magic user was casting some spell, and he required a volcano to erupt to cast the spell, but something went awry. So all these plumes of smoke that went up into the air solidified. So you have like this upside down mountain stretching up into the air for like a mile or something like that. And it's become a mega dungeon, and they call it the Nebulith. Oh, wow. And so you have, these Japanese-esque, islands around, and people adventure there. I guess Zach wrote rules for ninjas and samurai and stuff. So I'm looking forward to reading that.
Yeah, the creativity is just off the charts. Really, really amazing stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's part of really drawing me to it. You mentioned earlier on the spells that there's a lot of things we would recognize from D&D or a lot of other games, right? The magic missiles and things like that. And I think the biggest problem we have in a lot of these games is that when someone decides they're going to be a spellcaster, or they roll it up and go, I'm a spellcaster, either way, there's this inclination to go get spells that will benefit me and the party in combat all the time, to the expense of really unique summoning spells or utility spells or conjuring or other types of magic, which would make the game so much more exciting, letting a wizard or a magic user or a mage do their thing, instead of just worrying about how many hit points can I incur with this offensive spell and loading up that way, and especially with new players. That's really hard. Can you comment on that with Lamentations and some thoughts?
Yeah, actually, that's actually a really good question, because the only offensive spell in the core book here is Magic Missile. There's no Fireball. There's no Lightning Bolt. I don't think there's a Disintegrate. I don't recall seeing it. It's Magic Missile. Now, it's pretty powerful. It does 1d4 points of damage per level, and so you could be 20th level and have 20 missiles and just start zipping them around, but that's it. And the rest of the spells are things like helping you with investigation and exploration, or more debilitating, like, you know, enchanting your opponents and confusing them and messing with their minds, you know, like spooky magic user stuff.
Yeah. Well, you know, any old timer will tell you the most powerful spell in old D&D was sleep all along. It wasn't, you know,
Oh yeah.
fireball and these other things. It was sleep. If you got that to work, you know, you were home free. Um, but I think a lot of people do get trained, and maybe it's the video game mindset, which I'm not knocking video games, but you know, hey, I want to be in combat too. I want to shoot bad guys and pew pew and all that. You know, if you break out of that mold and you think a little bit bigger, there's really creative ways to influence
Yeah,
the monster or the group or the
I
baddies
agree.
fighting. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that if you know, your viewers take a look at, and there is a free PDF. There's no
Uh,
images, but if you go to the Lamentation store, lotfp.com, there's a free PDF you can take a look at. You will see that there is very strict, what I call niche protection. The fighter fights. Okay. The fighter, everyone starts off at level 1 with a +1 to their attack bonus, but only the fighter gains attack bonus as they level. Everyone else stays the same.
yeah.
The specialist, however, gains more points to put into all these little skills like moving silently and all this other stuff, because
Yeah.
the fighter can do that too. You know, he'll never increase. The mage can do that too, but they'll never increase. And in Lamentations, the magic user can wear plate mail if they really want to. They're probably not going to be able to cast any spells, but they can, and they can carry guns. In fact, the very first Lamentations game I ran for Gary, he played a magic user with 2 pistols,
He
and
did.
one,
He did.
oh yeah, and
He
at one
tried
point,
magic. Is magic user really the toughest class to play in the game?
I would say so, but it's also the most powerful and the most
Yeah.
rewarding once you get the handle of it. But yeah, so but yeah, and just as a side point too, clerics don't get a lot of love in the game in terms of like all these supplements, which I think kind of makes sense. But even the clerical magic is a little bit more powerful. Like bless is like one of my favorite spells on the cleric side, because instead of just giving like everyone a +1, you know, in 10 feet radius, it's you pick one person and you bless them. You roll a 1d6, add your level, and that's how many points they get to have and spend on die rolls for the next 24 hours. It's a great spell. And that's how, like, if your magic user inadvertently summons a demon with 30 armor class, that's how you're going to hit it. You're going to bless someone who's going to dump all their points just to try to hit the damn thing.
Yeah, and just a little off what we're trying to do here with magic, but can you touch on religion and deities and how that is
Oh,
in the core rule set, at least, not all the expansions?
sure. Yeah. Well, the implied setting is 17th century Europe, so it's the standard religions of our world. Like, I was in an actual play some years ago, where our ship was attacked by Barbary pirates, and I rolled a priest. I was playing a priest, a Catholic priest, and when I saw that, you know, we were being overrun by Muslims, I hid my cross and played dumb. We one of the a lot of the books, a lot of the adventures seem to take place in England, where you have that sort of I think at the time you had the Protestant Catholics
Yeah,
were,
Cromwell and
yeah, there was
Richard
all this
Scotland.
all yeah, you'll see modules where people are being denounced for being witches, but they're just different clerics, you know.
Yeah.
So but that's the implied
Okay.
setting. But there's also this other thing, like the implication of the summon spell is there's something else out there, but that something else is more like chthonic. It's more dark and existentially horror and just evil and terrible and or indifferent, you know. So and that's why magic users are kind of dangerous and probably should be burned at the stake.
Does it happen where you have characters who are enchanted or amused or whatever the term might be, taken by a spell and turn on the party? I mean, does that happen as well?
Yeah.
And how do you role play through something like that? You know, because it's kind of be a campaign ender right there. You know.
Yeah, I'm there are spells that like confusion. I mean it's I think that's in BX too. There's spells like that. Where things get really wild is when you have the modules, and I just was reading a quick one-page dungeon type module called a Weird Crusher that they're like free when you order from the Lamentations store. You can get these Weird Crushers that like folds out. It's like this little pamphlet folds out, and it's all about this rich guy who ended up getting in possession of a machine that allows him to possess other people and gain their knowledge, but it's addicting. It's highly addicting. So he tricks the players to come to his house, his mansion, and then that's what he does. He starts inhabiting everyone's bodies to try to get their knowledge. But while he's, possessing them, he's doing nasty things with them. Like,
isn't that Willy Wonka?
What? Pardon?
Isn't that Willy Wonka, basically?
I don't know. Is that what Willy Wonka was doing? Hey, actually, now that you bring it up, there is actually it's called Blood in the Chocolate. It's a play off of that. So,
oh, is it?
Yes, yeah. It's a woman, this like wealthy, this wealthy countessa. She finds these pygmies with a magical cocoa tree. So she takes the tree and these pygmies, moves them to Switzerland, and starts producing highly addictive chocolate, and everyone wants the recipe. So, of course, the adventurers are hired to break in, and hilarity ensues because you start eating the candy and you can't stop.
That's just reality.
So,
chocolate peanut, chocolate M&Ms, or what have you. Hey, so I wanted to ask, okay, for those of us who maybe want to jump into this, we'll get the core rule book. What next 2 to 3 things would you look at to purchase beyond the core rule book? And I know there's a bunch of adventures, and we all have our favorites, and you certainly have yours, but are there any good supplements that are more utilitarian and useful for your own game? And is it common that people homebrew in this, or the adventure's just great, you do your own thing? So it's...
The people who are really into Lamentations, I see that they do their own thing. Like on my blog, I've done some stuff that I've incorporated in my games.
Right? You published
Lamentations. Yeah. I was just gonna. Well, I wrote like a little mini adventure. It's called "Gift for All of Norway." I think there's a few more physical copies left at the U.S. store. There's a European store and a U.S. store.
Yeah.
What's at which one depends, but the PDF is I think $4.99 on drive-through. But as far as supplements go, that's a tough one. I would actually recommend. Well, number one, if you really want to take a look at the magic system and the weird magic you can get, these were free during free RPG day some years ago. And the PDFs are, I think, available for free at the Lamentation store. So download those too, just so you can get a look at all the at some of the different magic systems that are out there. But I would actually recommend two adventures. One, you're not going to find a physical copy because it's old, but it's classic, written by James. It's called Tower of the Stargazer, and it's an intro adventure to kind of like teach you how to game master if you're new to it, but also get a sense of like how Raggi approaches the like dungeon crawl / adventure. And he even explains himself. He's like, there's this one trap where he's just like, it may seem cruel to kill a character without any saving throw, but considering the number of steps they went through to get here, they kind of deserved it. So it's like, you get this like explanation. Yeah, don't feel bad. They deserve it. But that one, Tower of the Stargazer, to me is a classic one. Another one written by Raggi that kind of started this whole thing is called Death, Frost, Doom, and it is another adventure dungeon crawl that kind of like illustrates his approach to like the horror genre in gaming. There is a reprint of the original game at the store with like the old art, but there's a couple other versions out there where Zach S like kind of rewrote sections and then did a bunch of the art, and they're great. It's a Death Frost Doom is just awesome. I'm actually going to be placing it in my Gods of the Forbidden North campaign because I just want
there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'm sure a lot of this stuff you could actually take and a little bit.
I have. Yeah, a lot of it is like these adventures are drop in. Another good one you probably again are not going to find in physical copy is called "Forgive Us" by Kelvin Green. You can easily find the PDF. It's technically three adventures, but the first one is the main one, and it's a play off of John
Oh
Carpenter's The
Lord, yeah.
Thing, and I ran that at VentureCon 1 for a bunch of people who kind of knew Lamentations. Some of them didn't, and they were all
Does it
like,
have the
"Wow,
whole
that was
doppelganger
crazy."
element where you don't? It looks like somebody else, or you? I mean,
It's
okay,
I
yeah.
don't want to
Don't
give it
don't
any.
tell
I don't
me.
want to
I'm
give
just
anything
like, how
away.
the hell would I do that? It's one of the players. Oh, how do you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, Kelvin Green also did an interesting one called Green Messiah, which is a play off of that evil Superman movie, Brightburn. I don't know if you've ever saw that one. But instead of like a kid with superpowers, it's an elf who's like part of this like crazy tree, and his parents like raised him as their own. But the elf is like, I kind of like my parents, but not really. I just want to kill all the humans. Like it's a wild adventure. Um, but yeah, anyway, so Forgive Us, Death Frost Doom,
Tower of the Stargazer.
uh Tower of the Stargazer. I'm just taking a quick glance at some
Are
of the
there
stuff I got
expansions or
here.
anything, Matt,
Uh,
that aren't adventures but are have a lot of usefulness for a GM in this system that would be worth looking at, or is everything pretty much an adventure?
Adventure, it's pretty much like adventure setting and supplements, and it's highly individualistic. Here's the thing too about Lamentations that I think a lot of people don't understand. While there is a vibe, and it has a reputation for being about blood and guts and boobs, right? It is, and edge lordy. It really is to me like a heavy metal
Opera.
um uh no, 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 no. Like a heavy metal label, right? With all these different bands, the bands being the authors. And so, like, one author is going to approach things very differently from another, but there's still this vibe that kind of unifies them. So it's kind of eclectic. Ezra Clavier, if I pronounce that right, he published this huge box set right
Wow.
behind me. It's called A True Revelation, or I'm sorry, A True Relation of the Great Virginia
Oh yeah, yeah,
Disastrum.
yeah. I think we talked a little about that last time. I've seen a video
Yeah.
about that. I'm like, oh
Um,
man, that sounds eerie as hell.
yeah.
What was the Stephen King movie they
Yeah.
did?
That
Perfect Storm or something where all the people are all locked in, and then it winds up being about Roatan and the lost Virginia colony.
yes. Yep. I
They
can't remember
did it
the
as a
name of it, but I
TV
know exactly what you're
miniseries
talking about.
back in
Yeah.
the '90s or something, or hell, maybe '80s. I don't know.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, you'll get stuff like that, and that's great, like adventure setting area for the colonies. There's that box set right here with the three skulls. That's actually a slipcase that has three anthologies in it of like classic adventures, written by James and a few others. I highly recommend any of the anthologies. Death, though, the anthology called Death, that one's really dark. To just FYI, but it's got
What's
some
not
great
to
stuff
like
in that
about
one.
death? Yeah, I can see his
So
stuff just being that way, and some people are going to be drawn to it, some are not. I'm almost wondering as we talk about this if Bazin, which I haven't played either, it's kind of a take on Lamentations. Have you played that or seen it? Or
um well, I've been
it's
wanting to
spirit.
play a run of a
Awesome. Cool,
Vossen
awesome.
game. Yeah, I
Awesome.
Vossen.
Awesome.
Yeah. Um but I took Vossen to be sort of Free League's attempt at like kind of like a Cthulhu by Gaslight, because it's like late 1800s, I think 1700s,
Yeah.
1800s, something like that. So a little bit further in the timeline than Lamentations, but you are taking on otherworldly beings. But the tone is more investigative, supernatural horror, where Lamentations is investigative, supernatural horror, or can be, but then you add in, Cannibal Corpse doing the background music, where it's just like, just bad stuff's happening, So So I don't know if it would be a take on Lamentations, but it's still kind of in the same vibe, you know. But I think it's more, to me, it's a little bit more Cthulhu-esque
Well, it
because of that
sounds that way from the way you're
investigative
describing
element.
it, and I can't argue with any of that. I've not played it, but I've watched videos and one dabbled with
It's
it.
a fun game. I really want to run like an episodic thing on my Rumble channel. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Like once a month, kind of do it. You know, I think that'd be a lot of fun. Just kind of like episodic. You know, hey, we have this one adventure. Okay, now the fast forward like a week, a couple months, or whatever. Okay, the heroes are back. Here's the next thing they got to do. You know, I think that'd be kind of fun.
So what else is going on your plate here? We'll wrap this up here shortly. We're like 45 minutes in. I appreciate your time again, but I want to keep.
Oh no, I appreciate the opportunity actually. So yeah, the algorithm does not like actual plays.
I know
if you're doing other
night,
things
but
on
we
your
do it for
YouTube
ourselves and our friends who like to watch. But I know it's not going to help well with YouTube.
So what I've decided to do is I'm basically going to start doing all my actual plays on a Rumble channel called Gaming with Lord Mattias. If your viewers are on Rumble, please go there and give me a follow. I'm trying to develop that a little bit, and the algorithm is a little nicer. But that's where all my actual plays are going to be. And in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be putting together an actual play of. It's a mashup of the Wretched RPG and a Lamentations hex crawl called Keelong. It takes place in a fantasy Southeast Asian setting. I'm looking forward to it. But I wanted to do instead of sword and sorcery, I wanted M16s because I'm thinking Southeast Asian with like rice patties. I gotta have M16s and dudes in black pajamas. So yeah, like helicopters coming in. You know,
the one that looks like a little shotgun there with the
yeah. So I'm gonna be doing that soon, and then shortly after that, I really want to run a Marvel superheroes game using the old face rip system. So I might alternate weeks, but I got a lot on my plate because I am this close to being done with my first Shadow the Dark. I don't know if I should call it a zine. It's going to be like 120 pages. But it's basically 3 adventures that I had previously done for game jams. You have 7 pages, right? So many of my ideas hit the cutting room floor, right? And so I look back at this and I'm like, I'm just going to rewrite them, and I'm going to put all the stuff that I wanted to put in. So went from 22 pages to 120 pages. Yeah, but I'm calling it The Living Darkness Volume 1. It's a horror anthology. You're going to have supernatural horror with the first adventure, body horror with the second adventure, and the third adventure is like psychedelic horror with like this creepy cult. Very excited about it. I mess around with some of Kelsey's rules. Like I don't change them. I just use them in different ways to kind of like push the system around a little bit. And it's been kind of interesting. Play tests have been kind of interesting. So I was really hoping to have it done by now, but life just kind of got, but I'm hoping by the end of September, the PDF will be ready for people's October Halloween games. And then hopefully by November, December,
that's awesome. I didn't know you were doing that, but now I'm really jacked. I want to see that when it comes.
Dude, I'll send you a copy of the PDF once I got it finalized. If you want to take a look at it,
and you can tell everyone about how great it is, and you walk them through it, and give them spoiler alerts or what have you, or chase off the players at some point in DMs on GMs. Whatever.
Flint seems to like some of the stuff I've done for Shadow Dark, and I appreciate it. So I'm like, he was actually the reason why I decided to go back, because he just happened to mention it. Well, yeah, I kind of like your Shadow Dark thing, and I'm like, oh. Someone actually likes what I did, so I'm gonna,
feedback.
So, but yeah, that's what I got on the horizon. And as always, I hope your viewers, if they haven't checked out the second watch, Lord Mattias YouTube channel, Lord Mattias, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Friday nights. We'd love to have everyone there.
Are you thinking the conversation about maybe doing a podcast audio version of that and just spinning the listen into it? I don't know. It may not be worth the time or effort, but there are
Gary has been looking
cool.
into that. That's technology that's on his side of it. Like, I barely
He's the
understand what
musician.
I'm doing
He's
right
the
now.
guitarist. He's the guy with an
Yeah.
amp. He needs to figure this shit out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we wanna open up the channel to memberships, but I'm struggling with what do I offer? Because I don't want people to just give me money for nothing. You know,
Like
I mean,
Patreon.
I'm a capitalist.
Like,
I want to give you something in return for, so we're thinking about record, because sometimes after we're done with the second watch, we have our guests, we keep chatting for another hour afterwards. So we were thinking about maybe like recording that and offering that to members, like a members only thing. I've also been musing about setting up a locals for the second watch where people could obviously, because you'd have to pay to be a member, but yeah, they would, we can ask them, hey, what do you want us to talk about this week, and that sort of thing, and maybe invite them to games that we're running, that sort of thing. So I don't know.
Can you
I'm
imagine
not
broadcasting your show from like a local game store or a school theater, and you get people out and they come out and all that? Of course, you hope people would come out, but that might be cool.
Oh yeah, no, I actually kind of did something like this about a month ago. A buddy of mine was curious about VentureCon, so instead of flying, he offered to drive. So I'm like, sweet dude. So I grabbed all my gear, and instead of telling Gary, sorry, no second watch, I broadcasted from VentureCon. And so I just started pulling people from the con, and Venger sat down, talked with us for about 10-15 minutes, and then a couple other people, and that was a great experience because they got to talk about the con, they got to talk about the games they were playing, why the con was awesome and you should go next year. And I hope people do go to VentureCon next year. It's a small con, but it's a great con. I'd love to do that again. When we were at North Texas Con, we just kind of had this moment where Gary and I looked at each other. We were like, maybe we should have like set up.
Yeah, y'all should have
done
I'm sure you will.
So maybe next year we'll get a booth, and
you guys already get your tickets and all that. You already got your.
I think Gary has. I know I have, and so is Brian.
Pumping it up one night on somebody's show, Tank Cars, or somebody said, "Okay, fine, I'm in." Buy it.
They went so quick. I don't know if
there may not be now.
For
I think I was
registration
4 or something like that. They went.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I think I was like 326, and that was like 2 days after they went live. I was like,
yeah, and this is in Dallas, and just for anybody who's listening, it's a very OSR type convention that they've been doing for going on 20 years now in Dallas in June. And even if you don't pre-order and get the registration and all that, you can show up at the door easily and go in and spend all day in there with a day pass. It's just they try to keep the numbers lower. Raggi was there last year. Is it Jeffrey Talanian? Yeah, he was there.
Gillespie was there. Kelsey Dion was there.
Through one day. That was great.
There was a bunch of them. There was a bunch of the true old
concentrated really on gaming, and there's lots of games popping up with a lot of people who've known each other for a while. And I promise you, it was my first time there. And even if you had never been before, after the first few hours, it's like you're just making friends and casual acquaintances all over the place, and switching business cards and email addresses. So it's just a different kind of thing than going to one of the big giant cons, which has cosplay and comics over here. And we like, and what we love is only one small section. It's not like that at all. It's all about what we love. So,
yeah. It was definitely an eye-opening experience, especially like in this industry. It's so decentralized at this point. Everyone's got their YouTube channel, everyone's got their little following and their little clicks and whatnot. And then you go to this place and you're seeing, to me, what their industry really is like. These creators, these people who are like trying to hawk their wares, play games, and they're just talking about how to like make the games better. It's not just some chintzy thing that they're doing on YouTube or whatever. So I thought it was a very refreshing experience. And
that would be a good idea.
I think we had talked about doing like like maybe renting a booth and see if we can pull people in for quick, like 15-minute interviews. Like, oh, hey, Kelsey, blah, blah, blah. Hey, thanks for showing up. What do you think? Da, 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 da. Who do you think's going to win the 3 Castles
With the
award? You know,
nuclear
that
war
sort of
game at
thing.
11 o'clock at night. Get that game. I'm so sorry
Oh,
I
man.
missed that one. But I kept walking by the table. I was in the
Oh.
back playing DCC. But
Oh yeah, that was crazy. Gary, myself, and Brian. I think we had one too many drinks when we started playing that. And but the Black Lodge guys were hilarious, dude. I was laughing so hard I was crying. It was so funny. Yeah,
and of course Chubby
So,
was there, and
but anyway.
Flint and others. So, well, look, I'll let you. I'll
Yeah.
let you run. I appreciate you making time in the middle of the week for this, and I'm sure people will want to learn more
Anytime.
about Lamentations as well. Like I said, it's probably one of the 3 that I would like to look at and certainly play some games. Certainly before next June at North Texas, but who knows? I might have to wait that long. So
well, I don't want to make any promises because my schedule being the way it is, the Nebula looks so awesome that I might put together a campaign and I
appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that. Well, thank you, Matt, for being on the show, and we will see you guys next time. Look at the show notes, and I will put up some of these links from the Lamentations website for like the free starter book, that kind of thing. So you can go check this out with me at the same time, and we'll learn about Lamentations. So that's all we have. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Take care.